Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and thank you for joining us tonight on episode 30, season 3, The Standoff with Brad and Richie, here on New Zealand Sport Radio. We're here live every Wednesday on Facebook and YouTube throughout the season. Evening, Richie. Well, the first week of finals have come and gone. Some decent performances and one hell of a golden point contest, but unfortunately the Warriors' year has come to an end. How are you, and what did you think of the round?
Not good, and I didn't like the round. It's just the way it is. My team's gone. Although there was a couple of cracking games. The last one obviously was a standout, but yeah, just disappointed, Brad. I'm in the mourning stage, you know. Mourning the 2025 season. It's natural. We've done this 30 odd times before, so
Forever.
How are you?
Yeah, same. Bit dejected about the game. I obviously had to watch it a few times so I could do my review, which is never good when it's a disappointing result. But I think, as is, you know, I'm trying to always be the positive one out of the bunch. I think I was trying to pull positives out of it to what we can look forward to in 2026. But yeah, that's still a very, very long way away. But
yeah,
as your little side note says under your name, we have a reserve grade team that we can still fight for. So unfortunately, they lost to the Dragons of all teams again, but they still have a way to get to the grand final.
Yeah, we'll get them next time. We'll get them in the final.
Yeah, we'll get them in the one that matters. But while we're here live on Wednesdays at 8 p.m, you can also catch our show at your convenience on iHeartRadio and Spotify. Just remember to search for New Zealand Sport Radio. As always, we'll cover everything you need to know in the week that was rugby league, including our top stories of the week, a review of the final one matches. We'll then take a look at the tipping comp and the road to the grand final. We'll then stop, answer some questions from you guys, as well as questions we've got for each other, and then we'll preview finals week 2 and make our picks. Probably won't be as long a show as normal, mate, because there's not as much. And Paul is not here tonight again, so I will do my best to keep up with all the comments and everything. I see Simon and Jacko are here. And yeah, Jacko said Wahini's killed it. We'll talk about that as well. I always forget to mention that.
Yeah, they did.
But remember to send us comments and questions throughout the show, and we may as well jump straight into it, mate.
Yep.
First one, the Knights have officially confirmed Justin Holbrook as their new head coach on a 3-year deal. He seemed, out of all the applicants that were rumored, he seemed to be the best option. So we'll see what he can do with them there. But he's got experience, admittedly not the best team he's come from with the Titans, but he's got some decent talent there. He's just got to shape it in the right way.
Yep. Hopefully he's healed from his time at the Titans. That would take a minute to get over. But yeah.
Yeah.
I tell you what, they just needed a change, eh? I think it was the writing was on the wall that they needed to go in another direction. So let's see.
And Jack says, yeah. Yeah, he is a glutton for punishment, but I guess head coaching role pays a hell of a lot better than assistant coach role. Just it also comes with a lot more stress. But speaking of that, he was obviously an assistant coach, or is still. Oh no, he'd be gone now because they're gone too. He's an assistant coach for the Roosters, and so there's a spot open. And the rumors are running around that there's links for Michael Cheika to get the gig. So he's been sniffing every type of coaching role in the NRL, so he might actually get one this time. Probably not a bad start if he wants to, end up being a head coach in the NRL. Getting some experience with a team like the Roosters is probably a good way to get there.
Mate, he is to coaching what you are to rugby league podcasts. He'd literally take anything.
I haven't had a lot of guest spots this year. It's been a bit of a dry spell for the podcast war and myself. But anyone that's got a podcast listing, I'm always free. Yeah, we'll see what happens. I think, Fitzgibbon could train him up. I think Fitzgibbon would be quite not Fitzgibbon, wrong guy. What's his name? Who's the Roosters coach?
Trent Robinson.
That's it. I don't know why I'm saying Fitzgibbon. Oh, that's harsh. I don't look like Michael Checker. No, yeah, Robertson. I don't think he'd be feared of losing his job to Checker, so he'd probably be happy to take him on. But yeah, we'll see what happens when they announce it. Get into another one. Actually a bit fearful of the comments from Simon when I talk about this one, but the NRL are have apparently been quoted as saying they were happy with Ashley Klein's performance in the Broncos versus Raiders match, and apparently he's on track to being the official for the grand final.
Of course he is.
What did you think of his officiating?
Look, I'm probably the wrong person to ask because I'm just not a fan of his refereeing style in general, and I'm not a fan of the penalties dished out in the big moments of that game, like the contact with the leg thing. There's little I dislike more in rugby league than that at the moment. That one's just the fact that it decides games, and I'm saying this from a place where it's decided games in my team's favor. I still don't like it. It's we've seen one thing with Lockie Ilias that resulted badly. Name another time where it's ended up badly. How are you supposed to pressure kickers? Even rugby union doesn't penalise that stuff.
Yeah, I think there needs to be an adjustment to it, where if it's like what you saw, a slight glance, or if there's actually directed contact, I think there's wiggle room where you could make it a bit happy for everyone.
Yeah,
like Jacko said, though, I can't have it both
sense.
ways. A lot of calling it the greatest game ever. So well done, Klein, for making it happen. My issue with the whole thing was the Hudson Young sin binning, which a lot of people have questioned as well. Basically being sent to the bin for sledging.
What was he? Yeah, exactly. What was he binned for? Something that people have done since the start of rugby league.
Yeah, I was going to say I personally think he was scared of having it 13 on 12. So he tried to even up, but then later on he did another sin bin to the Broncos anyway. So it ended up being 13 on 12 at that point. But yeah, I don't know. But yeah, we could do a whole show every week complaining about officials. But yeah, we'll talk about it a bit more, I guess, when we get to that game review. Mark Nawaka Nitawase, I got it worse this week. He has been awarded the RLPA Rookie of the Year award, so he qualified for that one, unlike the NRL trying to get him out of the other one. I think it's well deserved. I think if the NRL hadn't have put that late rule in to rule him out of the Dally M one, he would probably get that one too. I've got a horse in the race with Lecker, but leading the NRL in tries and all that, I think gets you up the ranks a bit more, and just the impact he was having in games. So yeah, well deserved, I think, from there.
Yeah, for sure. Genuine game breaker. It was probably the difference in a few of their games this year. So I would have been happy enough to give him the actual Rookie of the Year, but hey. I think he would have deserved it, but at the same time, go Lecker.
Yeah, fingers crossed. There's still quite a few other options that they could give it to as well, though. So
yeah, Iongi, guys like that. There's
the other young player from the Roosters, Toya.
Yeah, Toya.
He could be in contention as well. Yeah, so we'll see. We'll get to talk about the Dally M's once they're all done and announced on the show after that. So. We'll see what happens there and discuss if we think some are right or wrong. We'll go into a bit of Warriors chat, mate. There's been a bit of noise, but it was before the game in the weekend that the Titans had given Alafiana Khan-Pereira permission to negotiate an immediate move to the Warriors for 2026. I talked about it when the rumors came out a few weeks ago, saying I am very, very interested at the right price. Just because one thing the Warriors need desperately is speed, and he could give them that. So I'd be happy with that. no news since that of anything coming into fruition. But what side of the camp were you on? I can't recall what you said.
Yeah, I'm good with it. He's got what we need: speed and a hyphenated last name. So tick.
He does tick the boxes.
Yeah. Yes. So I mean, he's obviously got his shortcomings, but for what he can bring, I'd be willing to risk it for the biscuit. Bring him over here.
Yeah, well, it's fair to say Dallin hasn't really found that form
exactly.
that we had come to expect. AKP essentially has very similar detriments on the defensive side like Dallin, but at the moment, he averages a try a game. That would be very handy. And as Jacko said, the back three will need replacing soon, as it's like Dad's army against the Panthers back three. Yeah, it was a discussion. I don't know if I was having it with you guys or if I was having it with my missus when I was bitching and complaining on the drive home from the game. I think I love him. I love him a lot. I think he's great. But I think the extension to Chance was the wrong call. I think it was time. He's been great to the club. He's put in a lot of effort. But I think his time being the fullback's probably as close to the end as it can be without being too harsh. If they decide to move him elsewhere, they may. But I think it's really time to just give the keys to Tane and try to bring some youth into it. But yeah, Webby does like his guys and likes to stick and pick with them. So we'll have to wait and see. But that would be what I would do. And yeah, Jacob said we re-signed DWZ and CNK. Mistake plus RTS 1 year too long. Yeah.
What CNK does well is going to be very hard for him to sustain much longer. Each year he gets older. He's that high energy, high effort player. And even this year, he's had a few games like that, top draw games, and then other games he looks very tired and beaten. So,
yeah, I think they need another attacking weapon out there. Well, not attacking weapon, so it's not just that, like almost player. Like an additional creative. That's what I'm looking for, which Tane can provide, because there's still times where they would swing out to the right and then Chance would make the wrong decision, go himself, get tackled, and then you feel like you've got a Dallin, who we all are criticizing at the moment, but Dallin's sitting out there with no one in front of him. It's like, just get him the ball and he can do what he does, and it just doesn't happen. So, yeah. It's going to be interesting in 2026 what the actual 17 will look like, because there's a few players knocking on the door that should get their chance, but they're just being blocked by the players in front of them that may need to be moved on. We'll see. But we segued off. There was another hyphenated player that was getting thrown around, mate. There was noise that the Warriors had been approached to see if they had any interest in signing Nelson Asafa Solomona from 2026. I think he would be a great addition to the team if he didn't do all the stupid stuff that he did.
He would be a great addition to our suspended players list, I think.
If you could get him half glass full here, I'm thinking of, there's a player we have at the moment that had a terrible Nelson reputation before he got here. And that was Mitch Barnett. Mitch Barnett was when they signed him, they're like, oh man, he's going to spend all his time being suspended because he just does stupid shit. He came here and stopped that. I don't know if Nelson's at a level where he could stop it, because that's just in his game. It's what he's kind of there for. And the Storm obviously have cottoned on to this fact and are just trying to get him off the books because he is very expensive on their salary. So I don't want to see it happen. It'd be a hell of it. Imagine if you had a Barnett, a Fish, and a Nelson. That is a hell of a beginning of a proper rotation, but he will never play. He will be suspended all the time. And Jacob said, Big Nelson's on 800k. No thanks. Aging middleman with discipline problems. Yeah. Especially if he wants that same Storm level money. There's no way.
Yeah. If you half that price, which it's not going to be possible with a player of his caliber. then
Yeah.
let's talk. But the kind of
I
money
still
he
don't.
commanded, not for me.
Yeah, I still think 400k is too much for a guy that might play 10 weeks. He'll be like Rocco Berry, but instead of injuries, it'll be suspensions. But yeah, I just thought we'd better talk about it since it popped up in the news. Next bit, Tommy Turbo is rumoured to be withdrawing from selection for the Kangaroos England tour due to his knee injury. And there were also rumours he was putting feelers out about potentially getting a gig in Super League, wanting out of Manly. We'll see if that happens. But yeah, interesting. I kind of expected it from him not wanting to go to England. He's not had the greatest year this year. Needs to get that knee 100% before the season starts, especially with a new coach.
He's not someone they need to pick anyway.
He's not.
The year fantastic player, but his form hasn't really soared to great heights because his season's just so interrupted.
Well, you definitely
need to select him.
You definitely have Tedesco,
so
Walsh, and Edwards above him right now.
Yeah, but even the rest of the back five positions too are just stacked for Australia. So
yeah. So we'll see. Continuing with Seagulls, though, Josh Aloiai has been medically retired due to his ongoing issues with the shoulder. No idea what they're going to do with him now. I don't really see him as a coach or a media personality. I don't know what he'll do, but good luck to him for whatever he's got. Yeah. Now we'll get into Walsh on that. Reece Walsh avoided suspension for the headbutt, received a $3,000 fine, and he also got an $1,800 fine for grade 1 contrary conduct. I believe that was for flipping the bird to the fans. Many pundits across the ditch questioned the decision, saying he got off lightly because he is deemed the face of the NRL. Before I ask you, I'll go to the next part, which was he explained why he pulled the fingers. He said he claimed a fan said something about his daughter, which resulted in him flipping the bird on the way into the tunnel for a sin bin. Don Furner, the Raiders CEO, came out and spoke about it and said he was standing next to the tunnel and you couldn't hear the person next to you, let alone someone in the stands, and he believes this was just the Broncos PR department going into overdrive. So your thoughts on headbutt game?
There's always an excuse for that fella, right?
Yeah.
Well, it pisses me off, and because if he'd done that wearing our colours, or if it was someone else, anyone else, I think they get a suspension there. If it's not a star halfback or a star fullback or halfback, they get.
Yeah, I think if you flip the role and it was Reece Walsh sledging and Hudson Young doing the headbutt, Hudson Young's spending at least a week on the bench. Suspended, I should say.
He'd get sent to the bin, he'd get suspended, and Reece Walsh wouldn't have got sent off.
Yeah. It's I feel like they've got to fix things where their punishments, it doesn't matter what time of year it is. Like we've had a few years ago, Murata got in trouble and got suspended for, I think it was 2 weeks for his open hand shove, which they deemed a slap.
Yeah.
Marcelo Montoya got 4 weeks for saying a slur. And I feel like a headbutt, it was a weak headbutt, which I expect nothing less from Reece Walsh to not being able to do a headbutt properly. But the intent was still kind of there, and he gets away with a lot, so I'm not too surprised. Yeah, and as Jagger said, Montoya got 4 weeks for a homophobic slur, and Lodge did it for us against the Titans and got a ban. Yeah. There's lots. I know someone was pulling up a case that earlier in the year there was a headbutt and someone only got a fine from it, but I couldn't find it on the judiciary records. Might have been. Might have been. So there might be, maybe headbutts are okay. They're just fines now. I don't know. But yeah. We know Walsh gets a long leash. And I didn't cover it. I didn't put it in the news because it's still developing. The Radley stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so more information's come out about the Brandon Smith drugs and betting thing. They've released the messages about Brandon Smith talking about his mates putting him down for first man try scorer, and then they showed footage of that game where he really, really tried to be the first try scorer. And then the drug stuff, there was, yeah, well, I would think so. But yeah, then the communication between him and Smith about the drugs, and Politis has got that rule where he said anyone involved in drugs would be sacked from the Roosters, and apparently they have started looking into what getting rid of Radley does. So we'll see what happens this time next week, mate, when we're talking about Radley no longer being a Rooster.
He was just asking for a short ball from a mate, wasn't he?
Yeah, they're going to play golf, mate. That's better for the putting. So I don't know. And Chris Edwards Bailey said next year's not your year, but maybe the year after. That's all Paul. Paul picked the name of the show this week. So he's not here to defend himself, but he seems to think it's our year next year.
I'll defend him, Brad. We say that every year. So
we do actually. Eventually, one day we should be right. But yeah, Paul also thought Wayne Bennett was coaching the Roosters this year. So, take what you can. Before we get into signings, the Warriors had their 2025 awards last night, mate. Thanks again, Warriors, for inviting me. Would have been great to go. So sitting at home, seeing what happened, but I've got the full list. I didn't send it to you. I just took a screenshot because it was too much to type. So we had Jersey Flegg. Their emerging player of the year was Kales Patoku. Team man of the year was Paya Sekuvia. And then their player of the year was JD Aloha. Not going to lie, I don't know many of the Jersey Flegg, mate. But New South Wales Cup team man of the year was Geronimo Doyle. Players player of the year was Tanner Boyd, and then the player of the year was Kalani Going. Kind of expected that when Kalani Going got player of the year for the entire competition. And yeah, good to see they gave Tanner Boyd some love. And Geronimo Doyle, I haven't really seen a lot from him other than in the trials and a little bits when I've got to watch New South Wales Cup. But seems like a player. I think he's one of the ones that will be going at the end of the season, though. Don't quote me on it. But I think they're not offering an extension. Women, the NRLW Club Woman of the Year went to Taisha Ikanasiso. Rookie of the Year went to Lauatiti, which we kind of expected. And then the player's player was Kaya Ata, and then the player of the year was Api Nichols, which I think those are all pretty valid. I thought Peyton might have got a nod or two.
Yeah, I was hoping so too.
But yeah, well deserved. And then the big boys, Leka Halasima got the NRL People's Choice Award. That's the one that the One New Zealand get the fans to vote who they want. He also got Rookie of the Year. Dimitri Vaimunga got Clubman of the Year. Player's Player went to Roger. And then the Simon Mannering Medal for Player of the Year went to Roger as well. We talked about it. I thought he had a good season, but he wasn't who I was expecting to get it. I thought it would be Aaron Clark. Spoilers for when my season review comes out on my website. Aaron Clark gets that award from me. I think he was I said well above Roger, but then when I went back and looked at my scores, he's like 3 points ahead of Roger. So it was still close. But I think I said to you and Rowan Hammer, it's 3 points between them at first and second. Then about 10 points below them, Lecker is third. And then about 6 more points below that is the rest of the people. It's going to be interesting because my worst player with my votes ended up being Luke Metcalf. Don't know how that happened. But yeah, I'll have to wriggle my way around it. But I do the 3-2-1 and I pick one player each game that needs to improve. And Luke Metcalf got 2 votes and was at the top. So it was very spread out on that side of things. Dallin didn't get as many as I did, so I might fungal it around and change it. But your thoughts, you happy with Roger getting it, or did you think Aaron Clark or someone else probably deserved it more?
No, I think Roger was definitely up there with our best. To say he was our best, I think Aaron Clark's consistency probably gives him the nod. I don't think he played any games that were anything under a 7 or 8 out of 10, I think maybe one game earlier on in the year he missed a couple of easy tackles which led to tries. Other than that, most weeks he was just superb. So I agree with you. I would have had him, but at the same time, I think Roger had a good year.
Yeah, and I think Jacko's mentioned it earlier, saying, like, who cares if they don't really care about the awards, rather win a premiership. And I think that's true. I don't see Aaron Clark going home and kicking the rubbish bin because he didn't get the award or anything like that. It's just us fans. The only one we really cared about was when Sean got his Dally M's one.
I was just going to say that's the exception because, that had me angry.
Yeah. But, well-deserved. And Keith's here as well. We said respect for the post-season content. Man, we never stop. We've still got internationals coming. And the outside back signing, the really only one that's on the cards rumored is that AKP one from the Titans, if that happens. But yeah, and Jacko mentioned as well, the Wahinis have 4 big signings to be named soon. I forgot to add that. I'm going to just steal it. That was thanks to Hammer for letting us know that one.
And the good news is that's on top of already getting Gail Broughton. So we should have a pretty formidable team next year.
Yeah, I'm jumping on social media again to get that news, but Korea Mail's just released a thingy about AKP saying he's reportedly informed the Titans his preference is to live in New Zealand from 2026. As such, the club's granted his management formal permission to begin the negotiations. So he's pulled the homesick card. So that is why that's coming up. If that is the case and they push it, you could also get him at a cheaper deal. Hold on, I've got to. This is great live content. Have you got a joke? Well, no, I found it. I was going to say, have you got a joke to tell everyone? So the Warriors are set to announce 4-star signings at the end of the season. Ron Griffiths has said 3 of them actually have been great names in rugby that are now playing rugby league. And one of them is just an out-and-out rugby league player. Rugby league royalty in terms of name and what she's done in the game, and they're all coming home. So 3 of them are former Union players that are playing. That's the first thing I was thinking of. It'd be not bad to replace Break with Walker. And then one's an out-and-out rugby league player and rugby league royalty, which I'm not going to say it's my thought. I'm going with what Hammer said. He was thinking Mackenzie Wiki, which is one I was saying a while back I would expect to see back at the club at some point due to her dad's relationship with the club. But yeah, it's meant to be very soon. So hopefully by the time of next week's show, we might have them to talk about. But yeah, if they get those 4, that would be nice, wouldn't it?
Wouldn't it?
But yeah, so we'll talk about it once we've actually got 4 names. But yeah, looks like a very exciting times. Jacko said he gave up on awards after SJ missed the Dally M. To be honest, that's kind of the last time I cared about Dally M's too. So yeah, we'll see. That was a good night, bar that we got a few Warriors that night, just didn't get the big one. But yeah, we'll hopefully we have that news about the new signings for the Wahinis as well. But we'll move on to actual signings. There weren't that many. The Warriors did announce the signing of PJ Marsh's son, Braylon, on a 3-year deal, 18-year-old kid. I saw a few of his highlights. looks good. He's coming over here and will be in the lower grades, I guess. I don't see him leapfrogging Sam Healy anytime soon, so I expect he'll be aiming for potentially getting into New South Wales Cup next year. But yeah, you got any thoughts on that? They're in a bit of a pattern of signing former players' children now.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, that's all good. I haven't really seen him play, so I can't comment on what he might bring. But if he's anything like his dad, bring it on.
Yeah. And then the Raiders officially announced the 1-year extension for Josh Papali'i, which we kind of knew was happening as soon as they announced that they let Trey Mooney go. I think it's great. I would like to see a guy like Josh end up a one-club man, so I'm happy. They called his bluff, or he called their bluff and said, well, I'm going to go play elsewhere. And then they were like, whoa, hold on. Let's see what we can do. So well played by Josh. And Jacko said, haven't heard anything about Crosby leaving. No news is good news, I guess. Yeah, so at the awards night last night, they farewelled all the players that were leaving, and Crosby was not one of them. So Bunty, Tom Ali, and a few others that I probably should have took the names down respectfully, but I didn't. But yeah, I did look on the list to see if Crosby was on there. But yeah, so we'll take it. No news is good news so far. Completely off topic. We've locked him down. It's fine. I was listening to one of the other podcasts, mate, and they had an interview with Lecker on it. And they asked him what he was doing in the off season. He said he was heading to Melbourne because that's where his partner is. And I was like, oh no, we got to get that missus over here, mate. We've got to get her a nice house somewhere here.
Does she live over there?
Apparently, that he said that's where she lives.
Oh no, we got to sort that out.
Got to sort it out. But yeah, he's locked down to like 29, so we've got him for a bit. You can't pull the homesick card because your missus lives in Australia and you live here.
You can pull a compassionate grounds.
You could. Jack has said come down. He signed till 28. It's not. I'm not a Warriors fan if I'm not worried about the worst cases. I've already looked at Luke Metcalf leaving, all these other players going.
And you're the positive one.
I know. But we'll move to injuries. It's basically Bulldogs, mate. I only grabbed the three big ones for teams still in the finals. So Stephen Crichton has moderate syndesmosis injury, may be able to return the prelim if the Bulldogs are still alive. He's actually been named on the extended this week, which I think's all smoke and mirrors because I've heard that there's zero chance of him playing this week.
See you next year, Critter.
Yeah. I don't see them. Spoilers for later. I don't see them winning this one. So, and then Anari Tuala from the Bulldogs, he fractured his tibia in that game as well. He's gone for the year, which is easy when there's only one or two games left for them. And then Billy Walters from the Broncos did an ACL injury going for scans. I didn't get an update on that, so I don't know if he was playing. Well, he's not playing this week, but I don't know if they've announced if he'll be ready.
I think they'll get troops back by that point anyway, won't they?
They will. They reckon Adam Reynolds will be ready by then as well. So it's not it's not a bad player to get back for that time. And then Naughty Boy Corner, Patrick Carrigan from the Broncos, mate. Grade 2 careless high tackle, 1 match ban.
Should have been one more on that list.
Yeah, should have been. Thoughts on the tackle? I think 1 week at minimum was probably valid.
Yeah, I think valid. Yeah, I was happy enough with that.
All right, so we're going to NRLW, mate. The final round before finals. A couple of big blowouts in this one. Thankfully, the Warriors were included in that, but the Roosters defeated the Sharks 40-10. Eels defeated Bulldogs 46-14. Broncos defeated Cowboys 50-4. Titans squeaked out a win against the Raiders 17-16. Warriors ended the year on a massive high, beating the Tigers 44-6. And then the Knights had a close one against the Dragons 30-22. Did you watch the Warriors game?
Yeah, mate. Yeah, and I thought we were very good. Yeah, I thought the Tigers were poor. To be fair, I thought their defense was just not there. But I'm just happy the girls came out and had put on a bit of a show for their last game, go out winners. I feel like they've had a strong year. The results haven't always gone their way, but they play with a lot of heart, and there's a lot of good happening. Yeah, I think it's only going to get better next year, so I'm excited for that.
Yeah, it's building, especially if they can get announce those signings that could come and really shake the team up. I think, heading in the right direction. Thought it was a great game for them to finish. Very happy with it. Then we got finals for the girls this week. Both games are on Saturday. Oh, okay. We got questions from Keith. I'll finish the finals and then Keith, we'll go into that.
Interrupt away, my friend.
Yeah. And Jacko said if Lau TT gets real fit, she'll dominate that comp. Yeah.
Agreed.
And she was playing against children at times in that game. But finals this week.
The shots. Oh
yeah. Finals this week, both on Saturday. Third place Knights play the sixth place Titans. Fourth place Cowboys play the fifth place Sharks. The first place Roosters and second place Broncos get the week off and play the winner of these matches for a spot on the GF. So I couldn't pick who's going to win those. It's going to be Roosters Broncos final, I think though. And Keith has said, don't want to interrupt the flow, but we're about to go into review, so we'll do this now. A couple of questions. Who is the best halfback his club has ever seen? Basically, which SJ? And who is your favourite Wise player ever for you two, Jacko? Jacko's favourite is Michael Luck, saying he got over 300 stitches for us. You can't ask for much more.
Yeah. We used to nickname him Dominant. And Brad and I would just be sitting there watching live, just yelling out Dominant every time he made a tackle.
Yeah.
He's a warhorse.
So, best halfback, mate?
Oh, for me, Stacey, not by a wide margin, because I've got a lot of respect for Sean, what he did early on and how he recreated himself on return. But, yeah, I've just got a real spot for Stacey, and for me, he'd probably be my favourite Wise player as well.
Jeff Robson.
Oh, my God.
No, mate, if you want to spend the time going through my bloody website with my great takes on Warriors, when they announced the signing of Jeff Robson, I said he was going to be the key to Warriors' success because he was going to unlock Sean Johnson's potential. Got that so wrong. I'm going to go with Sean. It was Stacey for a long time, but I think Sean. We went through a lot of ups and downs with Sean, but I think longevity and what he did. I'm going with Sean now. It's by a nose, right? Mate. It's by a nose.
You say longevity, but they must have played a very similar amount of Warriors games.
Yeah, but I don't know. It could just be recency bias too. And
I think it's very close. Either way, like it's just my preference is Stace. But give me Sean any other day of the week, and I'd be very happy. Yeah,
and then my favorite player, it's
obvious.
Feta Palacina. I've had many. If anyone's read my review, I've been playing with an idea in the off season because I disappear writing wise. And I'm thinking I've done a whole lot of spreadsheets, mate, when I was meant to be working. And I was thinking of going through from 95 to 2025 and putting down who my favorite Warrior was each year and writing about that individual player. And I was going through it, and Palacina kind of took a big chunk of that. But it's only for when they're playing for you. So I can't say Palacina in 2025.
I find it hard to nail down one favorite player ever. It's always either Stace or Lauatiti, Torpy, Mannering. There's just so many. Steve Price. It's just
Torpy,
what mood I'm in. What mood I'm in on any given day.
Torpy is one of two players in those 30 years that weren't forwards as my favorite player. It was Torpy and Conrad were the only two non-forwards.
Conrad may as well have been a forward.
Yeah, But I usually gravitate towards the props, as you know. So I had like Mark Tukey, Jerry Siu, Steve Price, Paliacina, Wiki. At the moment, it's Mitch Barnett. Before Mitch, it was Adam Finnell-Blake. Yeah. But yeah, I've got to see if I can actually. Yeah. Like I said, Conrad, how.
Jacko, this guy loves the big, powerful Tongan. That's all the backstory you need.
I do. Akumatai was a favourite of mine for quite a few years. Sunny Fi had the chance before I even got to watch him play, because he was very nice to me at a training session back in the day when he was visiting. He was with the county's Manukau team, and he was in Rewa at a training, and he was real nice to this fat little white guy that shouldn't have been there. And it was like, I like this guy compared to Peter Hiku, who was just a dick to me. We're even in the same team, mate, and he was being mean to me. It's not fair. But yeah, hopefully that answered the question, Keith. And we may as well get into the round, mate. We're doing our best to stretch this out when there's only 4 games.
Well, yeah, aren't we? I thought I had an early bedtime tonight.
Yeah. First, starting on Friday night, mate. Storm defeating the Bulldogs 26-18.
Yeah, 4 tries to 3 for the Storm. Eli Katoa. We had Lasati, Wishart, and Warbrick. For the Bulldogs, Sexton, Carraz, and Burton. And goal kicking 4 from 4. Conversions for Storm and a penalty goal. 3 from 3 for Matty Burton.
Yep. Decent effort from the Storm here. They started strong with their pack doing a lot of the heavy lifting, made some poor defensive reads that let the Bulldogs get into the contest. But as the injuries started to pile up, the Storm took control again. And while they didn't score a lot of points, they essentially just choked the Doggies out of the contest. Not their best display, but they appear to have shaken off that poor form they were coming into the finals with, and looked to be in a good spot to go the distance again.
Yeah, I don't know that they fully shook the poor form. They were definitely better, but not at their best. I think it was a very good time for them to get the Bulldogs in the finals. You know, right the ship a little bit. I thought Pezzett was very good standing in for. The great minds think alike, Jacko. I thought Pezzett was good standing in for Hughes. His kicking game was really good and had a 40-20, and they just needed that win to, get a bit of momentum and build towards the big one. But yeah, I give them a pass mark.
Yeah, and Jago said he's available as well. I forgot to add that in the news. Apparently, the Storm offered the Rabbits Pezzett on a loan deal, and Wayne Bennett said no. So the Storm are desperate to get him into a team to play some first grade while he's not available, when he's not always going to get him for them. So, yeah, I wouldn't mind saying come over to New Zealand for a little bit if you want.
Yeah, he would look all right. I think he'd be better than I'm not going to say it.
He needs a hyphenated name, though.
He needs a hyphenated name.
Your thoughts on the Doggies?
I think it was just a continuation of the Apache form leading up to this. And to make it worse, copping injuries on top of it as well. So the silver lining is that obviously they finish in the top 4 and they get a life, but they have to take the hard road now. And with a couple of injuries, it was a bit of a tough night. But I think their time's coming to an end, and they had a good year, and maybe they might rue a mid-season switch they didn't need to make. But hey, we'll see.
Yeah, horror night for the Bulldogs. Basically, horror fortnight, because they had a lot of injuries in the game before as well, when they should have rested some players potentially. But yeah, I thought they gave it their all, but the injuries they suffered during the match made winning a stretch too far. Losing a guy like Crichton, he's kind of the linchpin of that team. And I think Serraldo made the wrong call not having Reid Marnie on his bench as well. I think that took a lot of X factor away. It's changed. He's got him on the bench this week. But essentially, the longer the game went on, the more risks they tried to take, and they just couldn't pull it off. And they're going to need a massive improvement this week. I was licking my lips after this game, mate, going, all the Warriors have to do is beat the Panthers.
Yeah, me too.
And we can get this Bulldogs team because they're the walking wounded. Unfortunately, it didn't happen. It's walking wounded for the Panthers now, which just makes the Panthers' chances of being in the grand final again a lot easier, unfortunately. Jacko said Dogs have the next Panthers coach like us and look to play the same, maybe time to think outside the square. Yeah, I think they've got more X-Factor players where they don't have to play that style that we have stolen from the Panthers. We are very stuck because we don't have the excitement factor around it. In the teams that Webby's picking, there's players in there that could probably do it. But I think there does need to be an adjustment. I think your question kind of relates to that. So I'll leave it there. But then, yeah, and Jacko said Sexton made Serrato look a bit silly. Old Sexton came on.
Yeah.
Yeah. I still think it's silly he's going to Super League. I think a few teams would probably pick him up in the NRL still. I think he's still got some battles to play in the NRL, but
I'd probably feel a bit mucked around too.
Yeah.
After what's happened this year.
Your player to stand out.
I put Pezzett actually. I thought, he did a real solid job standing in and was the glue that kind of helped see them through to the result. He did exactly the role he needed to.
Yeah, I went with Will Warbrick. Thought he looked good out there. He hasn't had the best year. I was expecting big things out of him. But I thought he looked dangerous, and
runs hard.
Runs hard. He was getting a lot of meters. He could be a definite key figure attacking wise for them. At the end of the year, for finals, everyone's kind of extra cautious about Coates, which is going to leave him open to more opportunities on the other side. So, and I had him as my leading try scorer, which I really hope I was going to get. Not to be, mate. Whoa, pull the band out off, mate. First game on Saturday. Panthers defeat the Warriors 24-8.
Yeah, 4-1 for the Panthers. Isaiah Papali'i, Brad Schneider. Yeah. Casey McLean. Yeah. And Brian To'o. A couple of those might have been a bit dodgy for me, but salty fan. Leka got our only try in the 52nd minute.
Yeah. Oh. Panthers got more resistance than I think they may have expected and really had to grind out this match. Finally got rewarded for their hard work with a try before the half, and then got 2 tries in the second that they probably shouldn't have, which handed them control before turning the Warriors' mistakes into another try. Great kicking game from Cleary. Allowed them to dictate terms throughout the contest, and the forwards were very physical all night. Hell of a battle between Leota and Fisher-Harris. Not as convincing as Panthers teams in recent final series, but they're building and could go the distance once again. Your thoughts on the Panthers?
I'll start with that Schneider try because I actually thought that was a try, but I saw an exact same scenario with Wade Egan earlier in the year get rubbed out, no try. That's why that one annoyed me. It's just cruel to have that happen to us in an elimination final. But anyway, I thought that was a try. Momentum, what's he meant to do when his upper body slides over? Lift the ball up?
You're meant to not plant your elbow, mate. That's the rule.
Yeah, his body. Anyways. I thought obviously they just do what they do at this time of year. They outlasted us. I thought we were matching them in the effort areas, but they're just very clinical. Even if one or two of them look like it's off a dodgy pass, but they make the most of their chances. You give them a couple of chances and they take them and just suffocate you out of the game. So I think you're right, Brad. Probably not as convincing as recent final series, but that's just a snapshot. You know, they don't need to be playing 10 out of 10 every week of the finals as long as they're progressing, and then they just need a big one in the main one. They know what they're doing, and they've got me worried. But yeah, disappointing for us. But you have to say congratulations to them on another year, progressing close to man. It could be 5 in a row. That's just
I still don't think it is going to be 5 in a row, but I'm getting more worried about that stance. I also said they weren't going to make the top 8, so what the hell do I know? Jacko said our back three got outplayed big time. It was very noticeable. Yeah, your thoughts on the Warriors?
Yeah, I thought our effort was there. It's just it was a reflection of how we've looked most of the year. I think I was saying it to you before we came on. In my mind, there's just the struggle for points, especially when we lost Metcalf. You know, it's just been like that. We look like we're going through the motions, running our shapes, which is all well and good. The trouble is we don't have a Cleary to pull it off. You know, it's a similar game plan to the Panthers. They've just got a couple of pretty classy players that help them just run that system, you know, and just suffocate. Whereas we probably don't have the cattle to do that. Not saying we've got bad cattle, but it's not full-time premiership winning cattle, you know. So the effort was there. I've got some thoughts on. I don't know. We need to find some way going forward next year to bring about more points. However that may be, but yeah, I think that's where we're letting ourselves down.
Yeah, it was disappointing way for the season to end for the Warriors, but I was proud of that effort after what we've seen from the Warriors for the past month. They were physical all night, sorted the right edge out defensively quite a bit, you know. We weren't all sitting there with our heads in our hands bitching about Dallin all night, like we have been. They seemed to sort that out, and they didn't give the Panthers too many easy chances. There were some, though, unfortunately. Those 2 tries sucked the life out of the crowd. I can attest to when we were there. Not straight away, but it was more when you saw the try and then it goes and you go, that's not a try, and then the officials don't react to the noise coming from the stadiums that you've made the wrong call here. I think that's where everyone was like, and there were little things. The Panthers were offside most of the night from where I was sitting, which is what they're known for. And they weren't getting pinged. It was the 74th minute we got our first 6 again. So I thought that was crazy. But they just didn't have the spark to create scoring opportunities, and they didn't. I don't know if it's because they weren't the right players with the attacking sense. And I know as a prop, you know, right up the top when it comes to knowing how to attack as a half. But there was a few scrums we had where I was sitting there and I was telling the missus going, this is what they're going to do because this just screams points. And then they never did it. They all you had to do, they had the scrum set up. You put Lecker on the second man out, and then you get it to him as quickly as possible, and he's got a one-on-one and the try line. He's going to get that most of the time. But they kept putting that first receiver, giving him the ball, and by the time he gets the ball, the scrum's already broken off and he's running into forwards. So just 2 out, and you get the one-on-one situation. We saw one instance where he got the one-on-one and he scored. And so I think little things like that would have been good, but that's hindsight hero looking at it. Jacko said, worth a mention, Jacko Ford made 40 tackles in that first half alone. Yeah, it was a hell of a game back, you know, after having those weeks off. I thought he was very good out there. There was just other little moments. I noticed it last week as well. Like Tanner Boyd made the break, and there was no support with him. And, you know, you go the week before, Kurt Capewell made a break, and there was no one running with him. And both of those are almost certain tries if you've got a support player. So it's little things like that where they're not working cohesively on attack, kind of giving it to someone hoping they do something, which hopefully is tweaked and better once Metcalf is back. But yeah, I do think they're on the right path. With a few tweaks and the return of Metcalf and Barnett, the team could do something in 2026. I know we've been very down on the Warriors as of late because of the way they've been winning, not recently, but they've been winning, but not in an exciting way. So it kind of has been very stressful all year. But I think, a few tweaks, Metcalf, Barnett back, something to do with the back three, whatever they do. I think there is stuff there. We're just got to see, I think, guess one, if Webby will actually make those choices, or if he's going to just stick with what he knows. We're not going to know till 2026, mate. But yeah, sucked. But we don't get a lot of home finals, so it's good to be at another one. Just disappointing result. Your player of the game?
Went Toto. Thought Toto was pain in our behinds all night.
He was getting a lot of sledges from the people around me about his comments about his teammates' wives during the week.
Yeah, that wasn't his finest moment.
No, it didn't affect him though, the sledging. I went with Cleary. Cleary was just, his kicks were frustrating me with how smart he is. Like his little rubbers on the dropouts going straight over the sideline with no one being able to do anything about it. And then that kick that went to with the crazy bounce that led to that try that shouldn't have been a try. That was just smart. He saw the Dallin and Chance were way too far back. He took advantage of it.
I almost felt it was just
luck.
The bounce there. I mean, he just tried to pump it upfield and he got the perfect bounce if you're a Panther and the crappiest bounce in the world if you're a Warrior. We'd done all the defending and just held them to their 20. That was like the perfect defensive set, and it was just a knife in the back that it ended like that with a forward pass there. Yeah.
But that's right. Last time we had to talk about a Warriors performance this year, mate. It's we can move on.
Have a wine.
We'll move on to the second game on Saturday. Sharks defeating the Roosters 20-10.
Yeah, 3 tries to 2. Ronaldo Mulitalo had 2 of them for the Sharks, and Toby Rudolph had the other. Mark Nwangani Tawase had 1 for the Roosters, and Angus Crichton. Nice little battle there. Mulitalo, Marky Mark. There's a bit of talk about that one in the build-up.
Yeah. It may have been the after effects from being at the Warriors game, but I thought this was the least interesting game of the round. I really wasn't that interested in it at all when I was watching at home. Happy that it was a lot later, so I actually could get home through the traffic and actually get there before the game started, which was good. But credit where credit's due. The Sharks surprised me with a hell of an effort. They hit the Roosters hard and fast and forced them to make mistake after mistake. And while they didn't have too many chances, they did ice them. Trindle's return made them look more dangerous with the ball in hand. And Mulitalo, as you just mentioned, appeared to relish the battle with Marky Mark. I expect them to go out this week, but I also expected them to go out last week. So another spirited display like this could see them stay alive. Your thoughts on the Sharks?
Yeah, I thought it was a good win against a dangerous team. They got the most out of their home ground advantage. Like you said, Trindle was very good late on a couple of nice tries. Ronaldo was good. Probably just a little bit more accurate than the Roosters. That they probably play a little less enterprising game, which allows them to be a bit more accurate. But they've got the win. They've got another chance to go around. So good for the Sharks. You know, in the previous seasons they've struggled in these first round of finals. So nice for them to move on to the next.
Yeah, and your thoughts on the Roosters?
Not their best. They saved one of their they didn't save their best for the round one of the finals. They play with a lot of flair, obviously, but they've got a lot of mistakes in them too. And then I think that came out this week. They only completed at 68%, which you can get sometimes from the Roosters, but sometimes with those completions, they still pile on a bunch of points. Not this week. I thought for whatever reason they struggled to put on points, even though they've got a truckload of attacking weapons out there. So I think you have to give a bit of credit to the Sharks' defence holding strong there, but yeah, just not a good week for the Roosters to turn up with a below par game.
Yeah, Roosters have been on a great run of form, but they picked the worst night to have an off night. That's all I can really say. I know Jacko said the Chookies are awful, God knows why, but they were. Yeah, I didn't see this type of effort out of them. I expect this to be the biggest scoreline of the first week. But yeah, they just couldn't get anything to stick. And the more mistakes they made, the harder they tried to dig themselves out of the hole and the deeper they got. It just didn't work. And defensively, they just switched off for patches, which allowed the Sharks to get those tries. Did a lot better than I expected them to this season. And I think they've got themselves in a nice spot for 2026. A bit like the Warriors, not the way you want to go out, but I think the future is bright. I think the first thing I'd be doing is making sure Marky Mark gets an extension rather than thinking about going and being a Wallaby again. But yeah, I didn't pick them for the 8. So the fact that they squeaked in just, but yeah, just too many mistakes, man.
Yeah.
Your player that stood out.
I went Ronaldo with a couple of tries to back up the mouth. So yeah, good on him.
Yeah, I went with him too. He runs his mouth. He's the biggest mouth in the game, but he does back it up. If he's going to score a couple of tries in the finals game, you let him run his mouth a bit. And yeah, they'll make it 1 week longer than the Warriors. And yeah, JFC Trindle was good. Yeah, he is the reason they go as good as they do. Every time he's playing, he takes control. He lets Nico does what Nico does, and he becomes the organizer, and the Sharks look a lot better. It's when Nico is out there having to be the organizer that they struggle a bit more. So, as long as Trindle's healthy, I think they're going to be good. Final game, Matt. I had mixed emotions in this one because the team I wanted to win didn't win, but I earned a bit of coin on the TAB with it, so I was happy. Broncos defeated the Raiders 29-28.
Yep, 5 tries each for the Broncos. Tony Staggs, Dean Mariner, Reece Walsh, Josiah Karapani, and Gimat Shibasaki. For the Raiders, Hudson Young, Sebastian Chris, KO Weeks had 2, and Ethan Strange. Very typical Raiders try scorers in that list.
That's how I won my money, mate. Yeah, I'm looking back at it. I had 2 of them, mate. I think I told you. So I had 2 on. I had Ethan Strange, Karapani, and Reece Walsh all to score. And then I also had one for Strange, Weeks, and Walsh all to score. And all 5 of the players I had picked scored. So, yeah, very happy with that one. Would have been better if I put them all in one instead of doing 2 separates. But
True.
You learn these things. And before I ramble, Jay said Ricky jumping up and down not once but twice singing the game over, and they won was classic entertainment. Man, I felt for him and all the players when that happened because we've been there. I've been there this year where you think you've won the game with a great try or something at the end, and then they take it off you. But you intensify that with the situation you're in, being a finals game and getting you automatically to a prelim. Be crazy, but crazy match in the first week of finals, and it was my match of the weekend. The Broncos looked in trouble after Walsh's sin bin, falling well behind, but upon his return, he took over the match. I think I saw John saying the sin bin was the worst thing to happen to the Raiders because they got that lead, but Reece Walsh got 10 minutes to get recover from running around. And then when he was back out there at 100%, he was just running around double time compared to everyone else. But yeah, they when he got back on the field, he took over the match, got them back into the race. They used second phase footy really well and created lots of half chances. I did think they got the rub of the green towards the end. Even at the start, there was a few calls right at the beginning that I thought were a bit harsh against the Raiders. But the Raiders appeared to have won the match twice, but the Broncos just stayed focused and eventually got the win. Another team getting closer to that favorite premiership favorites tag. And Jagger said Walsh looked like an angry chappy back from the bin. Maybe he plays his best when angry. Yeah, but it's like when your toddler's angry at you. You got kids, mate. When one of your little kids is having a temper tantrum with you, that's what I see Walsh as. He's just a little boy when he gets angry, but he's very fast. And you can use it against him in the right way. It just wasn't the time this time. We saw it grand final last year. That's when it wasn't last year. The Broncos didn't make the grand final last year. The year before.
2 years ago. Yeah.
They used it against him. But your thoughts on the Broncos?
It didn't all go. Yeah, it wasn't an armchair ride. I think the Raiders got the better of the early exchanges, and obviously the sin bin. The brain snap from Reece Walsh, but then the comeback was epic. They down by 28-12. I think it was like 25 minutes to go, and Reece Walsh doesn't need a full 80 minutes when he's in this when he's in a purple patch of form. When he's in this kind of form, he just needs periods where he can hurt you and take the game away, or take over the game like you did here. He's just got that speed on the edge, the vision, the passing game. We're seeing a lot of the good stuff from Reece Walsh the last few weeks, and not so much of the stuff that drags him down. So I think it's a massive reason why the Broncos are coming home with a wet sail. They've just given themselves a golden opportunity now too with a prelim at Suncorp. So scary stuff.
Yeah. And your thoughts on the Raiders?
I thought they were going to cruise home with that home ground advantage. 28-12, like I was just saying. Yeah, I thought Raiders home and hosed. I don't know what happened. I think they've been one of the better second half teams this year, but not this time around. But the Broncos can do that. I don't know whether it's the pressure of the situation, maybe, for the Raiders, and I felt very sorry for them because the penalty to tie it up with touching the leg. I already voiced my displeasure after those penalties earlier, but I just feel sorry for them in that case, because he'd almost have been better just to not charge at him, because from nearly 50 out on an angle, I don't think he's ever going to kick it.
Yeah. It's those crazy moments though, right? Where, if you don't put that little bit of effort in and he does nail it, everyone goes wide and he put more pressure on him.
Exactly. Exactly. But then he puts just the amount of pressure he puts on makes him make minimal contact with his leg. There was definite contact, but it wasn't dangerous.
He Hollywooded it like a pro, man.
Perfectly milked.
He was lying down in the fetal position like he'd lost his leg until the ref saw. He was just waiting, and then he hopped straight up, man. Kicked
the goal with that leg.
Yeah. But yeah, Raiders I thought looked a little shell-shocked when the Broncos scored early. But they got back into the contest off the backs of some great efforts from their pack. Seemed to get under the Broncos' skin a bit and took full advantage of the sin bins to pile on the points. But perhaps that was the worst thing to happen for them, as they just looked to have taken the foot off the throat. As you said, as Jacko said, it was a 16-point lead with 15 minutes to turn that round. He said, to be fair, SJ did the dive for us once or twice. Yeah, that's what you mentioned earlier. It's that.
Yeah, and even then I don't like it.
Yeah. I don't like it either, but yeah, I will take it if it helps us win, man. That's the double-edged sword of it.
Yes.
But yeah, the Raiders, so they just took the foot off the throat, unfortunately. And yeah, the Broncos ambushed them. I thought they were hard done by on some calls, and I can't imagine how the players could stay focused after thinking they'd secured the win twice. That's got to do something with you when you're trying to play. I've never been in that situation, so I can't say. But they have to get the grand final the harder way now. And while I'm Team Raiders, now the worries are gone, I'm starting to have doubts creep in. I think I was saying to you and the boys at Ruin Hammer, my prediction of a Broncos Storm final could still be on the cards. And the Panthers are another team that could still make it too. So, yeah, unfortunately, the list of teams I don't want to win it are getting more than the teams that are left that I do want to potentially win it.
Mate, if it's a Panthers Storm grand final, there's a very strong chance I'm not even going to watch
it. You have to, because we have to talk about it.
I know. Not willingly,
but yeah. Your player to stand out, I feel like I don't even have to ask.
Yeah. Pretty boy, Milker.
Yeah, I went with Reece Walsh as well. It's hard not to. He kind of orchestrated that come from behind win. So, yeah, well deserved, I guess. We'll go to the tipping comp. As I said last week, it is still going. We've got it here. The Urk is now ahead on points differential ahead of Bjorn. They got 3 out of 4 games. Princess Cahill got 4 out of 4. So predicted the Sharks winning and the Bronx winning. Jagger said, geez, you guys look in pain giving Walsh man a match. He's a talented player. I just think he's a prick. I don't know a nicer way of saying it.
On his chin. When he was walking back to the tunnel, giving fingers and poking his tongue out, I just couldn't help but think that's just a very punchable face.
Yeah, and I had that opinion of him when he was a Warrior. I thought he was a very talented player, but he was a prima donna. That was more trouble than what he was worth. Just the way he interacted personally with stuff like this. With the fans, I didn't like. But, yeah, you can't deny his ability. And, yeah, Jagger said Tuppeny needs to tone down his attitude. Yeah, Tuppeny will find himself in a bit of strife if he wants to be physical, or sometimes he goes over the line, which could hurt the Raiders. They need him out there. So
he has to toe that line, though, hey, because that's what makes him great.
Yeah. He's not a Nelson, so he's better at finding the line. But yeah, most people, Hammer and Michael got 0. I assume they didn't enter any tips because none of the that gives you the away teams, and there were, I guess maybe it doesn't count away games for finals, maybe because the Panthers won away, Broncos won away. And
nice to see Harry Poppins still had a Joker up their sleeve.
Yeah, and used it.
Hey, they've still got one left. I hope they forget to use it because,
no, they've used them all, mate. Round 14
sound good to me.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, so, there's probably one left used earlier.
Yeah. So Urk and Bjorn still ahead. NB Sports Fan 3rd, Princess KO 4th, Evelyn 5th, Simon is 6th, ECT Hellcat 7, Boy from SMB 8. I need a better round than them to get back into the top 8, mate. I'm at 9th, Roscoe 10, Mac 11, you're 12, Harry Poppins 13, Michael and Hammer 14, 15.
I hate this.
Yeah, it's not good, is it, mate? But yeah, I only got 2 games this week, so I don't see it changing much. But we don't really have anything here. Normally we show the ladder. I just thought we'd do the road to finals just to get a better idea of where everyone goes. So the winner of the Raiders Sharks will face the Storm next week. Winner of the Panthers Bulldogs face the Broncos. So if the Storm can win and then beat the Storm, they could potentially meet up with the Broncos again and get revenge in the grand final. Time will tell. My prediction for grand final was Broncos Storm, which I think at the moment is the strongest. If any team's going to beat the Broncos, stop them from getting there, though, the Panthers would be the one. So we'll see. That's what I think I was talking to you about. If we had managed to beat the Panthers and go against the Bulldogs, we'd be fine. But then we had to play the Broncos or the Raiders, which I was a bit concerned about. Storm would have been easy because we're unstoppable against them, mate, when it comes to finals. But it is what it is. You got any thoughts on that? Or do you want to just move on?
My thoughts off the bat are the strongest possibility is either Storm Broncos grand final or Panthers Storm grand final.
Yeah.
But my heart still wants the Raiders to do it.
Yeah, the Raiders are officially the only team I would like to win it now, with who's left.
100%. I would stomach the Dogs, but I don't think the Dogs have...
Dogs aren't going to get... No, I don't see the Dogs getting out of this week with all the injuries they've got. I think if they had everyone fit and healthy, maybe. But, I think they've done their dash. And Jagger said Storm Panthers, huge possibility. Yeah, I feel like it's going to be Storm versus... Yeah, Storm Panthers, Storm Broncos, which I hate because I want to see the Raiders get there. But I think the Raiders had a better chance if they won against the Broncos. But yeah, we'll talk about that when we get to it. We'll go to questions. We've kind of answered everyone else's questions, mate. I will. Ours are very similar questions. How about we go with your one to me first?
Okay. My one to you was... Let's just bring it up so I actually remember it. There we go. What do you think should be the areas the Warriors focus on to improve on 2025? So what are we working on for next year, Brad, to get better?
I think it definitely working on the attack. Not just a Luke Metcalf, but having a spine that can all contribute to attack. Kind of like when we had, you think about it when the good year of 2023, you had Sean, you had Tohu, you had Dylan Walker, you had all these guys that could chip in and do. We need a bit more of that at the moment. Aaron, I love Aaron. His playmaking side of things isn't at Tohu's level. And Luke needs some help. Chanel was very great with him. They combined well. But, yeah, I think they need someone in that fullback role that can chip in with the playmaking. And conditioning. Not in the terms of being fit. I think they're all very fit. But it's doing something that can alleviate injury potential. I know that's always hard to predict. Yeah. And said, like Aaron Clark, to work on his ball playing, or was Gannon the man? Keep forgetting about bloody Gannon. Gannon does. He has that playmaking ability, but it's Super League playmaking ability. I don't know. We still don't know how that's going to come across in the NRL. But yeah, I keep forgetting him. He is a hell of a player. He could be a good attacking strike weapon ability. I'm just thinking. I feel like Murad is going to become a full-time prop next year. And I think you're going to have Capewell, Gannon, and Lecker as like your second row options. But yeah, we'll see. We've got Capewell for one more year until they can get rid of him and then keep, we've got all this young talent we want to see. But yeah, Jacko said back three are one-dimensional and predictable, needs changes there. Yeah, I think that kind of goes into my attacking thing. I think Roger, we've got him for one more year. If he can do what he was doing this year, it's fine. Chance and Dallin, they either need to completely regather their form or move them out. Whether Khan Pereira, attain to a Bicky or something. I would even, if you're going to stick with it, I'd even just move Chance to centre. Give him the full preseason in centre and just move him there if you want to keep him in there. But he needs to be at fullback. I think that's a must. What were your areas?
not too dissimilar. Definitely an adjustment attacking wise. Have a way where we can either work some second phase into our structure, or create tries, craft tries, rather than just try and stumble across tries through a pressure game and playing out your 5 tackles and putting up a bomb and trying to trap them and pressure them. That seems our MO. We've got that structure we seldom deviate from, and we have a couple of get out of jail cards in Metcalf and Leka Halasima. That can pull points out of nowhere. It'd be nice if we, and it probably is, the way there is probably almost what you suggested, just a bit more creativity in the spine. Maybe Tane being in there might add a bit more ball playing and option taking rather than the effort that Chance brings. But I don't know, mate. That's Webby's area to come up with the answers, but that's where I feel like we're lacking most. That and our edge defense, we could always keep working on that, iron out those kinks in the right-hand side defensively.
Yeah, and as Jacko said, there's plenty of options out wide. Tuapiki, Kali, Mellors, Setu, and maybe AKP. Yeah, there is a lot of options. I'd love to see Kali get a chance because he's just got speed to burn too. But yeah, we'll see. I wanted... You've been a bit of a negative bastard, mate, and I'm sick of it. So my question is more to try to get a bit more positivity out of you a little bit. With the Warrior season over now, what is the biggest positive you can take from 2025's campaign?
I think the positives we can take out, we kind of gained by necessity. The next level down, our depth was tested, losing Metcalf, losing Mitch Barnett. So our young forwards coming through got a lot of exposure, that maybe got a little bit more first grade exposure than they might have this year, which is great, and a lot of them came out with and enhanced their reputations. Leka had a breakout year. I think Dimitri as well. Laban showed a lot of promise when he got his chances. So we've got a nice layer coming through, and I think, if anything, it's the emergence of those guys and the building of the next level down. So you'll never 100% prevent injuries, and you hope for a good run. But if they come next year, I think we've built a bit of strength in our next layer down. And like Jacko said, the effort and commitment, I think that was never in question in any of our games. So, yeah,
you stole my answer, you bastard.
Okay. Sorry.
I had the same. It was the young kids. As you said, a lot of them got a lot more time than they expected. That interview that the Kiwi podcast had with Leka, he basically said he barely got any minutes in that Vegas game, and he was like, all he wanted to do was, get a spot in the 17 and make it his, and he did that more than I think anyone expected. I think I had in my predictions with Ruin Hammer that he would be the Warriors Rookie of the Year. But I was expecting big things, not what we saw, leading try scorer for the club and, so many amazing moments. But yeah, not just him. Dimitri, I thought, did really well. Jacob Laban, as you said, was doing really well until he got hurt. Eddie Eremia Tawava did really well. Not just the young kids, Aaron Clark. Aaron Clark, when they announced his signing, I know I said it on here, probably disrespectfully, that he was a cheap Jazz Tavanga. We basically got him because he was cheaper than what we would have had to pay Jazz to stay. And whatever they're paying him is probably nowhere near what he should be getting with how we played this year. The biggest thing for all of them, as we know, there is that cliche term about second-year syndrome. They need to back it up in 2026. But yeah, the future's bright. You even look at New South Wales Cup, the lower grades, how well they're going. There's a lot of good things. And said, as Jacko said, all the new players from Cup play very well, which gives argument for like to see O'Carly next year. Yeah, and that's what you want. You want your New South Wales Cup team pushing your first grade side. So you want all the kids down there pushing. Like Sam Healy, we all knew Sam Healy had a lot of potential. Sam Healy's knocking on the door, not just to make the 17, but for some fans to take Wade's spot in the 13. And things like that. You got young players down there. Every month next year we're going to get closer and closer to hearing about we need to see Jet in first grade. We know things like that are going to come up. So that is all positives, I think. You'd rather have, at the moment, we don't have that in the centres. At the moment, we're talking about all these players that could take places. We don't have centres to save ourselves. We need to find centres somewhere, or find centres, or give Ali and Rocco concrete pills so they don't get hurt. Because at the moment, it's bad. Your two marquee centres for the future, you can't rely on, and you need to rely on players if you want to build a club around them. So, that is my positive, which I felt I went very negative on. But, we'll ramble about them all day. We're just trying to get as much Warriors talk before we don't talk about them ever again. We'll go into finals week 2, mate. 2 games. Saturday and Sunday, no Friday night game. So Saturday we got the Raiders and Sharks. I've gone with the Raiders.
Yep, Raiders GIO. Surely.
Yeah, Raiders at home. Sharks, as I said, I didn't expect them to win this week. So, that's what I've gone with. And then Sunday, Bulldogs, Panthers. I've gone Panthers. I just don't see the Bulldogs getting through with the injuries they've got.
Yeah, likewise.
Yeah. So hopefully a 2 from 2 there, mate. I don't know if it'll help us with anything. And Jay said, given the number of back rowers, we may maybe play Lecker at centre. Yeah, I didn't actually mind him. I thought he actually played a lot better at centre than I expected. They just need to know how to use him better out there. I think if Metcalf was there, I think Lecker would have been crazy dominant in the centres with a half that would know what to do with him there, mate. But yeah, that is also an option too. Eddie Aramia Tuava can play centre as well. He was playing centre in New South Wales Cup a few times. So they've got options. Anything else you want to add before we let everyone go? We went an hour and a half again, regardless of it being 4 games.
No, I'm good, mate.
All right. Well, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us tonight on the Stand Off with Brad and Richie. For your weekly update on rugby league, tune into our show next week at 8 p.m. here on Facebook or YouTube, or later on iHeartRadio and Spotify. Just remember, search New Zealand Sport Radio. Thanks for joining me again, Richie, and good night, everyone.